Key developments through the day as well on the concerns that had been raised yesterday by 4 senior judges of the Supreme Court. In fact, news just coming in, the Supreme Court Bar Association has spoken in the aftermath of the allegations. The Bar Association President Vikas Singh said that differences between the judges are of grave concern and also that all PILs should be taken up by the Chief Justice, also adding that to restore credibility henceforth, a system should be developed that a PIL should not go beyond the first 5 courts.
The differences that have been reported in the press conference by 4 senior judges of the Supreme Court and the other differences which are reflected in the newspaper are of grave concern and should be immediately considered by the full court of the Supreme Court. It is further unanimously resolved by the Executive Committee of the Supreme Court Bar Association that all PIL matters, including the pending PIL matters, should be either taken up by the Honorable Chief Justice of India, or if he has to assign another bench, it should be assigned to the judges in the collegium, which is the collegium of 5 judges for appointment to the Supreme Court.
All right, my colleague Anusha Soni joining us live on the story. On resolving the differences themselves, what does the Bar Association plan to do, Anusha?
Padmaja, I must highlight that the role of the Supreme Court Bar Association is very crucial in this matter. They might not have a direct executive power in this case, but clearly there is a very soft power that they exercise, before the benches at the Supreme Court. Their resolution today primarily is, which is a unanimous resolution, that there should be a full court reference, which should be a closed door, not open to public, which should, where all the judges should sit down and try to amicably resolve the issues. Very interestingly, now the CBA Bar Association is suggesting that the public interest litigations either should be heard by the Chief Justice of India or should not go beyond court number 5. Now, this is picking up from what the 4 judges yesterday had pointed out, arguing that the benches and the matters are, allocated in an arbitrary and in a selective manner to get reasonable or, some sort of preferred outcome. So clearly that is something the Bar has taken into account. Another very crucial aspect, Padmaja, here is that the Bar Association has refrained from commenting on Judge Loya's case, the PIL which had come before the Supreme Court. They are saying that all the pending PILs, including that of Judge Loya's case, should be heard by one of the top 5 judges of the Supreme Court of India.
All right, stay with me, Anusha, because there was more news related to the outcome of what happened yesterday. The Bar Council also spoke today. A 7-member delegation has been set up by the Bar Council in an attempt to mediate and resolve differences between the judges. Addressing the media, the Bar Council of India Chairman Manan Mishra hailed the government for its stand of not interfering in the issue. However, he did comment on the politics around the differences between the judges, slamming Congress President Rahul Gandhi for speaking on the matter.
सरकार की भूमिका की हम सराहना करते हैं। कल ही हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने और माननीय कानून मंत्री ने कहा था कि ये उनका अंदर का मामला है, इसमें सरकार इंटरफियर नहीं करेगी, हम दखलंदाजी नहीं करेंगे। हम उनकी भूमिका की सराहना करते हैं। बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया ने इसको अप्रिशिएट किया। राहुल जी ने कुछ उठाया, उनको उठाने दीजिए, मौका मिला है। अगर जुडिशरी के बारे में पहली बार कोई चीज प्रेस में आए हैं हमारे लोग, तो राहुल जी या बाकी पार्टीज के लोग कुछ ना कुछ कहेंगे। हम उस पर कुछ नहीं कहना चाहते। हमारा एक ही आग्रह आपके चैनल के माध्यम से होगा, सारे पॉलिटिशियंस को, जो भी सेंसिबल लोग हैं, कि जुडिशरी को उसकी जो गरिमा हो उसको बरकरार रखें, उसको मीडिया चैनल पर या बाहर पब्लिक में इसको क्रिटिसाइज ना करें। इससे पूरी न्याय प्रणाली को ही नहीं, लोकतंत्र को खतरा है।
So everybody is now trying their best to try and act as mediators, Anusha. But you spoke of the Bar Association. What real powers does the Bar Council in this case have to even act as mediator?
Well, they absolutely have no powers which are laid down under any rules, under any resolution or any sort of order passed by Supreme Court. There is nothing. It's just a soft pressure, and there is indeed a friendship between the bar and the bench. It's one of the very traditional relationships in the Indian judiciary. But other than that, the bench only, the bar and the bench can only have an advisory role for each other. One can't dictate for the other. As far as this statement coming from the Bar Council of India is concerned, it is completely up to them to try this. this, but looking at the entire context and the way the manner in which this has been panning out, it looks very unlikely that any intervention from any bar council is likely to going to yield any result. And the CJI office so far has been very careful about who to involve in this matter. So the BCI members having any sort of say in this matter is very unlikely. And I must also very briefly point out, all the bar associations in this country have a certain sort of a political nature which is not overt. So clearly everyone speaks from their political standpoints, and we must take that with a pinch of salt.
Absolutely, and it's always good to keep that in mind. Yes, there are political affiliations, but not overtly so. As Anusha mentioned, stay with me because there's more news coming in. Anusha, I'll come back to you in a second. Breaking news, the Supreme Court will not hear the case of the suspicious death of Special CBI Judge B.H. Loya. In fact, the investigation petition was to be heard on Monday. The proceedings now stand cancelled. Anusha, if you could elaborate on that. Why is the hearing not happening on Monday? What's the reason?
Padmaja, let me just put it into context. There were two judges. There are always two judges which is on the bench whenever a matter is heard ordinarily. Now, one of the puny judges in this case, other than Justice Arun Mishra, is on a leave. And because of that, that court is not sitting on Monday. So far, that's the roster that has come out. But after the statement of the Supreme Court Bar Association, there is also sometimes rostering that happens in the Sunday evening. So we also need to keep that into mind. We also need to see if the Supreme Court devises any mechanism to allocate the public interest litigations, and especially Judge Loya's case has been at the center of the controversy. So I will not actually jump the gun and say that it will not be heard, but so far, according to the roster, it is not listed yet. That's what I can say.
All right, Anusha, thanks very much for joining us with your inputs on all of those big stories. It's been a day where you have a development a minute on that case. In fact, there is more news coming in. In fact, Justice R.S. Sodhi has launched a fierce attack on the four rebel Supreme Court judges. Justice Sodhi spoke exclusively to India Today, calling the press conference an act of trade unionism, calling for contempt proceedings against the judges who spoke out. Four senior judges speaking out, and now another former judge, Justice R.S. Sodhi, saying that contempt proceedings should be initiated. Listen.
A lot of this section of the civil society believe it tantamounts to, a contempt of court itself. Do you think it's a very, very wrong precedence?
Of course, it's a very, very wrong precedence. This should not be taken as a precedence at all. It's an aberration, absolute aberration. Now, look, you sentenced one judge to jail because he cast aspersion on the Supreme Court. Did he not? I think he may be still in jail. And only because he was a High Court judge. And now what about the four of you? The four of you need to be dealt with accordingly. You have cast aspersions not only on the Chief Justice, but on 21 or 20 other judges as well. You held that they are incompetent to deal with the cases, and only the four of you are the best in the court.
So when you say need to be dealt with accordingly, what do you mean? Can you elaborate?
The same Contempt of Court Act that sent Diankar to jail is the same act that should be used against them. Why not?
Final question, Justice Sodhi. During the question answer session between reporters and the four justices, a question was put forth that whether impeachment should be used. The answer was the nation must decide whether it should be used or not. How do you see that?
The nation must decide. What were you there for? We thought you were the ones to decide our problems. Now we have to decide your problems? What have you brought yourself to? Nation must decide. All right, I am part of the nation. I decide that you should be impeached and get out from this court. Give the others a chance. You have shown your inability to continue as a disciplined judge of the Supreme Court. You don't deserve to be there anymore.
Anindya joining us live on that story, and really strong words from a former judge, Justice R.S. Sodhi, someone who is in fact adjudicated in some of the key cases in the past, including Jessica Lal case. But on what grounds does Justice Sodhi think that legal action, contempt action can be initiated against these senior judges, Anindya?
Well, absolutely, and probably harsh words is probably a mild way to put it, because what he is saying essentially, A, that contempt proceedings should be started, A, and B, also the impeachment procedure should be initiated against all the 4 rebel judges, and 3, they don't deserve to be in the Supreme Court. These are very, very strong words from one of the former judges. Now, this we know the context where it's happening and what we have been seeing, but the essence of the entire thing is that whether you have breached the protocol, whether you have crossed the line, and there has been a sense not only from Justice Sodhi but also a lot of people who don't want to come on record but have been saying off record as well that there has been a well-led procedure, there has been a well-led line. All the 4 judges may have crossed that line in order to uphold the sanctity of the Supreme Court, but probably the larger good. But who decides that whether it's a larger good? What Justice Sodhi is essentially saying is that you have thrown one High Court judge into jail for casting aspersion, and that amounts to contempt of court. Then why not casting aspersions on the Chief Justice of India himself? So it also amounts to very much contempt of court.
Thanks, Anand, for joining us on that story. More news coming in. The government, remember, has been very measured in its response to this entire controversy. Now, MOS, that's Minister of State for Law, PP Chaudhary, has spoken on the differences, the airing of grievances by the Supreme Court judges on the crisis in the judiciary. And in a measured response again, he has said that the matter is being resolved. However, he did take on the Congress for trying to give the issue a political color. Listen.
और सारा का सुलझ रहा है मामला आपस में और कोई स्टेटमेंट देने की बात नहीं है।
सर सुलझ रहा होता तो भी ये मीडिया के सामने कैसे आता?
ना इसके बारे में स्टेटमेंट नहीं। दूसरी सवाल पूछो।
सर लोकतंत्र भी खतरे में पड़ रहा है, उन्होंने ये भी करना है सर।
बिल्कुल लोकतंत्र खतरे में नहीं।
सर कांग्रेस भी कर रही है लोकतंत्र खतरे में, आप भी
राजनीति कर रही है।
राजनीति कर रही है और चिदम्बरम के यहाँ पर जो आज ईडी के छापे पड़े,
कांग्रेस राजनीति कर रही है जो कि करनी नहीं चाहिए ऐसे मौके पे।
Heading into a quick break, on the other side, we tell you about the letter written by the top 4 judges that raised serious objections about one particular bench being assigned sensitive and important cases. More on that in a bit.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.